first day of player exit interviews. How's everyone feeling? I mean, it can be probably nervous times for some of the younger players that haven't been through this sort of stuff before.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many of the boys. Just rolled straight in. But yeah, it's usually the time of the year where you've got that ability to reflect can be a little bit daunting, especially if you've had a few bad games along the way or you didn't finish the year you want to. But the way that we roll it with the medicals into the football stuff and welfare, it's in the end it's more about getting clarity on what went well and what didn't this year. And if it was the good stuff, it's why you did it and how we can continue to. And if it's the bad stuff, it's how we can change it. So it's, as much as it can be a bit daunting, it's necessary. And I think the boys get a lot out of it. So that's obviously why we do them. But yeah, they're pretty important stuff.
For those at home that don't know, what's the sort of system? Is it you talk about the medicals first? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's pretty much just you do a little bit like a medical exit. So it's basically chat with the doctors and stuff, see if you've got any issues, get that sorted before you go away, and then chat with the football staff. So that's like obviously Nixie, the coaches. Dan Jackson, people like that will sit in there and they'll just talk about your year, how you played, what went well, how we can get you better, and then you move on to a bit more of the welfare stuff, what you got planned for the off season, all that stuff. So it's pretty comprehensive, and we try to make sure that everyone leaves with like a clear plan on what their off season looks like, how they can get better, and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's a necessary day.
I can imagine for you in particular, it's around the medical stuff.
Why is that? Yeah, we've obviously had a little bit going on this year in terms of the body, but fortunately, because I've had all that stuff going on throughout the year, I've pretty much just chatted to them weekly and already pretty much ticked off my medical. But yeah, we'll continue to assess that as it goes forward and see whether I need any little touch-ups or anything. But at the moment, I'm pretty good.
When you talk about
no surgery for you?
Unsure yet. It probably won't be. It's something I'll chat with a specialist about. But yeah, I don't think I'll need anything because it feels pretty strong and steady at the moment. So shoulder-wise, finger-wise, it's all pretty good, healing well.
When you talk about what went well and what didn't, what went well as a club and what didn't on the whole?
Great question. Yeah, no, I was reflecting on it the other day. We were sort of chatting post-game about obviously that we didn't finish the way we wanted to, and that game against Port wasn't us. But I feel like we took a lot of steps forward. You saw a lot of development from the young boys. Saliga, obviously Fogg's second half of the year was incredible. Sam Berry's pressure and tackling. We saw some things that we think going forward is going to be huge for our club. I think it was just that consistency that wasn't there this year, and as much as is expected with a young group and an inexperienced group, we feel like we've got to be able to deliver for 4 quarters every week, and we just didn't in some games. Port, the GWS game, there was first quarters against Sydney where we can't bring that because we set ourselves such a deficit that it's insurmountable in the end. But I think the main stuff, the positives, outweighed those little lapses and those negatives because we had such a young group, and it was pretty impressive to see some of the boys come along the way they did, especially so quickly.
And so what has to change between now and next season to make that happen?
I think the main thing that we found is when we stray away from our way, stray away from our game plan, that's when it goes wrong. When we try to do too much with the ball in the back half, or we try to get too creative going forward, or we don't seek the contest and make that our main mission, that's when we tend to just deviate away from our way, and it leads to not necessarily the smashings, but just not our way of footy. And I think the games where we did it for 4 quarters, we won most of those games because we did stick to it that whole time. So it's that ability to find consistent performances through clarity of role, and then also our ability to actually execute it on game day, which will come with experience. But this group showed a lot of heart, a lot of big wins, especially West Coast away. The first half against the Showdown to come out and play the way we did. So I feel like we've done a lot well in that regard, but we just got to keep that chipping away at it. Yeah.
Have you spoken to Rory about the captaincy next year?
No, that hasn't been brought up. Doesn't really need to be honest. He's just chipping away at his rehab at the moment, and he's been as good a leader as ever as you've seen off the field. I mean, obviously we know what he brings on the field as a leader, but his coaching stuff and his work off the field is just what you expect from Sloaney. So hasn't been brought up because it doesn't need to be, because he's the captain.
Do you feel like you're ready though if he does say, I want to focus on you getting back to full fitness?
Honestly, it hasn't come across. It's something that we, as a leadership group, haven't really even brought up. So it's not something that I have to be ready for, because it's not a conscious thing. It's not in the front of our minds. We're not talking about it or anything. So he's good. He's just got to make sure he gets his knee right and he can come back and lead the club the way that he does.
Is Mad Monday dead?
Well, it's a Monday and we're in here, so it might be, yeah. Well, it's an interesting one for us because we've got the sample boys, obviously. We're trying to get a flag in the sample. So in terms of the breakups and all that sort of stuff, we can't really do the full group thing yet. And we might push that later on if possible. But yeah, for this year, Mad Monday's dead, yeah.
Any others?
Wacky
Mate,
Red
if, obviously there's a bit of speculation about Matt Crouch. If, as reported, he does find a new home this trade period, he's still got plenty to offer another club.
Matty, as in, yeah, definitely. He obviously it wasn't his greatest year, and it would have been frustrating for him being in and out of the team. And we saw what he does in the sample. He can still perform, and even when he played at AFL level, he was performing at the level. And we want him to be a part of this team. That's the thing. He's still an Adelaide Crow, and he's great for this group, both on field and off field. So ideally sticks with us and continues to bring that good form, and hopefully it's more AFL games next year.
Have you spoken to him over the last couple of days?
No, not about anything like that. Just talk to him about, like we're just out at the pub, so just things talking absolute smack and maybe what horse is going to get up, but not nothing to do with where he's going next. So we haven't really had those conversations. I'm not sure if he has with the boys or whatnot, but yeah, at the moment we're just all systems a go for Matty. Just try and get the review done and chat with the coaches and see what he does from there.
What are you surprised if he's here next year, Tom?
No, not really. He's I know it's been difficult for him. It has, and I can say it from like first-hand experience how well he has handled it. And I know the media know when he's in and out and how frustrated he's been with it. But he's still a big part of this club, and he's still such a. In terms of his leadership stuff, like he's still a leader of the club, and he still performs well in the sample. He gets around the young boys and all that sort of stuff. So it has been a tough year, but the way he's handled it has been a credit to him. So if he sticks around, which I hope he does, it'll be a big win for us.
Jimmy Rowe, traditionally, if you're out of contract and it gets to this time of year, you're either waiting for trade periods to know where the club sits or your future might be elsewhere. Would it be a tough call on James if he's not at the club next year?
Tough call meaning for me or for
would it be harsh,
like for the club?
Would it be a harsh call?
Oh yeah,
for James
yeah. Yeah, definitely. He's a great player. We love James. He brings a lot in terms of the on-field pressure and the ball use. He's a crafty player. He's kicking goals lately. He does a lot right, and I think he hasn't put a foot wrong in terms of his training, his professional habits, all that sort of stuff. So it'd be stiff for him. But the way that he's performed, I'd like to think we bring him back, and hopefully he stays around because it brings a lot to the group off-field as well.
Just on that Mad Monday stuff, I know you guys will get together. Traditionally in Adelaide, you don't really do the whole dress up and stuff. Like Geelong seems to be the industry leaders. When you see those guys do that, how do you react to that when they rock up and they're dressed up as characters and people? Do you like it?
Yeah, I sort of love it from afar. I don't like. I'm not a massive dress-up costume guy though, Theo, so I probably don't want to do it. But I like watching it from afar. Yeah, we sort of have other things that go on, but we don't really do the whole dress-up stuff. It's not really, as you said, it's not really an Adelaide thing. So I don't know. Maybe we bring it over one year and see how that goes.
So
but
what do you guys do? You just get together for a couple of beers?
Yeah, we'll just
wait till the sample finish?
Yeah, we'll try and wait till the sample boys are done because it's sort of obviously unfair, and we want them to be a part of it as much as we can. So we want them to chase that flag, win a sample flag, and then come and enjoy it with us from there. But yeah, pretty much all the boys that aren't playing sample are just going to be travelling or getting away or floating around Adelaide. So it'll just be more put the feet up.
So you'll no doubt wait 3 weeks for the sample guys to win before you personally have a beer. Is that how it's going to work?
Can't say that is the case, and may have already had a beer. But no, we'll have a few little get-togethers and things like that, but not of the actual Mad Monday dress-up stuff that you're loving.
Given the borders have been closed the last couple of years, I mean, you've been able to, the group's been able to train here in Adelaide together. How do you feel like, Phil probably go overseas and all that? How's that going to, I guess, affect how you come back for pre-season? What will you do kind of different to make sure you have the same results to an extent?
Yeah, it is a lot different. We've had an actual meeting about going international and how you book out a gym and maybe book a hotel that has a gym or find an area to run before you go. Because as you said, the last 2 years we've basically had the whole team here or in Victoria, and if you're not leaving the country, there's always a footy oval or a gym around, and we can get access to Good Life gyms or we can get access to footy clubs that the boys can use. But going international, it changes it a bit, and with a young group, you want to make sure they're getting that working because of what we spoke about before. That clarity of game plan, we can tick that off here, we can get the mental stuff right, but we have to keep training at the level so that we can play at the level, and we just have to make sure we stay on top of the boys, keep checking in on them. If they're going away for 3 weeks, halfway through, just check how you're going with the gym, how you're going with the running, because you don't want them to get back to day one pre-season, have hardly done anything, and then have to play catch up. But the way that we've instilled into this group that hard work leads to good performance, I'm pretty sure with how disciplined they are that they'll be all right. I hope so anyway.
Have you got anywhere booked?
No, I've actually got nothing planned. I'll go back to Melbourne for one night to see Hamilton, the musical, because I'm a bit of, I don't mind that musical. But no, outside of that, not a lot. Got a puppy, so I'll look after him and try and train him up, make him a good doggo. And then pretty much maybe I'll go back to Geelong and see the family for a little bit. But all in all, it's going to be a pretty tame one for me, I reckon.
What's Burjo's, the overarching Burjo-ness and impact that he'll have on people going away and cutting loose? Is there
Yeah, no one would drop a beer the whole time. No one would drink a beer the whole time. They'll just stay on.
Is there a sense of maybe keeping it a little more tame, given the threat of Burjo's hundreds, looms and all that sort of stuff? Does he actually have a real impact on what you do in your off-season?
I think not from the perspective of when you come back, like what it's going to be like. It's more just the sessions that he puts out there are pretty challenging in general. And in every off-season, you have those sessions that are tough, and once the heat comes up, it makes it even worse. But it's more that his sessions are tough, and if you're being silly the night before a session, or you're not getting the proper sleep, not eating the right food, it's going to make it even harder for you. And then obviously, that's going to affect your ability to run well, which is going to affect your ability to train and then play at the level. But I reckon it's more you're going to bed on a Sunday night thinking I've got a pretty tough Burjo session come Monday, even if you're in Rome or you're in Melbourne. I better look after myself so I can get that done at the level, otherwise it's just going to be impossible.
Where do you just have a run around the Colosseum if you're in Rome?
From experience, mate, no idea, haven't been there. But yeah, I'll be running around the ovals in Adelaide, don't have to worry about that.